So, Leslie, this is Marsha Orr, and we're here to speak about Joseph Cofield, who I think you know well and you've worked with extensively. And what I'd like to ask you about is how did you meet and how did you first get started working with his project, People for the Constitution?
I've been actively trying to get constitutions in kids' hands for years and years and years. And when I heard that there was someone else doing it, I tracked him down and found that we had several people in our mutual acquaintance group. And the fact that we're all enthusiastic about and not just giving lip service to, but getting out there and putting them in kids' hands. Um, that's my passion. I am also a member of the DAR, and I have found out that there are several groups that donate to Joseph by with cash and helping get those constitutions out there to the kids. Um, I've been dressing up crazy in Revolutionary era garb and going to schools for many years. I'm talking like 30 years.
Wow,
Once
that's a
time,
commitment.
yeah, I had a lawyer who would give me as many constitutions as I would pass out. And so I would stand just off the school property at discharge time and hand them to the kids, even the ones on the buses. And that's pretty much where I have just jumped right in. And then that gentleman left town, and so my supply kind of dried up. I've called several different government officials, and before Ian, through Lee County Schools, we were able to get out 8,000 constitutions to seventh graders.
Wow,
And
that's awesome.
and honestly, I have ladies at church who will just give me $100, and that's when I give Joe a call, and we meet up, and he brings me some some constitutions. I hand him the cash, and it doesn't go as far now as it did before COVID, just because so many printing houses went out of business and the price of everything is skyrocketing. But that doesn't lessen my commitment to get these constitutions in the hands of kids who are studying it first in fifth grade, then in seventh grade, and again in 12th grade, uh, because that's the way the Florida school board has it lined up. And
That's great. So, when you first met up with Joseph, what was your experience of him and how did you find his passion as a match for yours?
Well, you feed off each other. We're so excited about what we're doing that it's kind of like going to a revival. You're
Wait,
just
I don't, wait. I don't get this. You're just handing kids paper and it's got some words on it. What's so exciting for you about it and what's so exciting for them about it? And also Joseph. I mean, what's everybody got? Where's the passion coming from?
if you don't know your rights, you've already lost them. And these tell us how our country was designed and what many of our rights are. And one time, one school let me go in during lunchtime at a middle school, and my son, who dressed as a Minuteman, went with me. And we talked to each child that would come up to us about the importance of the Constitution and what does it's the framework for our country. It's the how we make our laws, how we elect our officials, how is the president. One homeschooler dad challenged me and said, well, how did they elect George Washington? And I had to go do my homework and look it up and make sure I gave the right answer. And it's exactly according to the way we do it now. Of course, it took longer because everything was handwritten, and the riders on their horses who would dash all over the country and deliver the letters and collect the votes and come back together. So it took several months to do back then. But fortunately, we don't have to wait that long in this instantly gratified society we are in these days. But to have someone else who's patriotic and like-minded is an exciting thing. One time recently, when I met Joseph to pick up some constitutions, I said, oh, by the way, do you know anybody who has American flags that they need to have honorably retired? And he was just so excited because he had a whole bunch in his truck, and his wife would be so thrilled to get them out of his vehicle. And the day that
She's an angel as far as I can see, that wife.
I know, we retired over 100 flags that day.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well, when I met
That's
Joseph, he was talking about having served abroad in, the Vietnam War and coming back and understanding that the kids in America didn't have the understanding for America. And he was really impassioned about letting them know what we stand for and why the Constitution's important. So, have you found him like a reliable source to collaborate with? He gets the books out.
absolutely,
You give him
absolutely.
money and
He's
he does what he says he's supposed to do.
big time, and over and above, quite honestly. Um, and we don't meet on any kind of a schedule. I just call him when I've got money I can hand him, and probably within a week we'll meet. So that's pretty good considering we don't even live in the same town. But
Yeah. Let me ask you this. How did the Daughters of the American Revolution get involved in underwriting his project? And with you as a representative, did you have to go to your group and advocate what was the importance of this project? And what did you say?
not only have I done, but I'm doing it again at the end of this month because I want to get it as a line item in our budget. And I know for a fact that it is in several other DAR groups, a line item so that they can give him money on a regular basis.
That would be so wonderful. What is the language that you're going to use to convince them that this is an important thing for the Daughters of the American Revolution?
Well, our commitments as is historic preservation, patriotism, and service, and this hits on all those points. That's
How?
what DAR is about.
How does it hit on all the points?
Well, because you're putting into the hands of young people a document that's 200 plus years old. It's so important that we not lose that historic. And then for me, it's not just about dates and times, it's about how people lived. And when you look at the amendments, that shows through clearly when we had prohibition and then it got repealed, and how we had women's suffrage and even the freeing of the slaves, which didn't really happen like it was supposed to, I don't think. But and then again in the 1960s, when again that issue was relayed and talked about to make things more equal. Those are not just ideas that somebody thought up one night in a crazy dream. Those are living, life impacting, important to us everyday things. One of the things that makes me crazy is if you ask any middle schooler, what do you do if the policeman wants to come in your house? And you sit, and I tell them, they all say the same thing. Yeah, let him in. Absolutely not. That is not what you do. I tell them respectfully, always step out, close the door, ask them what do they have a warrant? Because they don't have a right to search your house or to come in your house unless they have a warrant, and they have to have probable cause. They have to have a reason, and those kinds of rights are in our documents that we're putting in those kids' hands. Now, Joseph's production of his little book is the nicest book I've ever seen. And I told you, many years I've been doing this, and it's a half sheet of notebook paper that size, 8.5 by 11, which means it cuts down on cost because that's a standard size. And it's folded in half, and it's nice and big, and it's red, which I love. And in the middle, page 31, I believe, 30, is the questions that say, which amendment gives you this right? Which amendment gives you that right? And the next page are the answers. And I always encourage, it is, and I encourage the kids to make sure that they go through and look at this stuff with their parents, with their teachers, if their librarian. If there's something you don't understand, take that yellow highlighter and highlight it. And that's the whole point of having it not on your phone, not on your computer, but tangible in your hand to study with.
Right. That's a really good point. So I think that This has been kind of a match, really, that's meant to be. And I'm really grateful that you've hooked up with Joseph and that you share this passion. Is there anything more that you'd like to share in support of his work or your work together that we would just want to make sure people understand?
We can't do it without support. As I said, I had those 8,000 constitutions we passed out. I can't pull that off every year. And not to mention my husband would not be thrilled to have all those sitting around our house as I so often do. Now they live in my car. So I have to have, not just for me, but for every group that is impassioned as we are, to get the funding to make this happen. It's not just going to, fall out of the sky into our lap. We have to put forth the effort to make the point, to realize for others that they have to dig deep. Open that wallet, come on. And it's not going to help our children for us to sit on our hands. It takes some effort. And I don't think God expects you to sit on your hands, until you're, 6 feet under. Let's get up and do something. It doesn't take somebody who's college educated or financially super set or really young. It doesn't take any of that. It takes a willing heart that sees a need and steps up.
I couldn't say it any better myself. I think what you and Joseph and the Daughters of the American Revolution are doing and the People for the Constitution is really a key, important matter for our life as a nation going forward. So let me add my thanks to each of you, and I appreciate you coming forward and supporting his work, and he's going to be thrilled to hear what you've had to say, Leslie. Thank you very much.
Thank you.